As the mighty demon emerged from the pits of hell, the holy warrior in ironclad armor stood his ground with unwavering conviction. Raising his helm visor, the hero let out the dark incantation, drawing power from the shadows surrounding him. A blade started forming in his right hand, darker than the moonless night. He pointed the black weapon to the skies and invoked divine powers of good and order. The gods responded, suffusing the dark magic within the blade with the sacred might of the eternal bliss. With the power of both light and darkness in his hand, he charged the foul beast. He started cutting and smiting the living hell out of it. The demon, unable to cope with the overwhelming force of blows, tried to flee. However, the holy knight intercepted his futile attempt with the final quick killing blow, decapitating it at a spot. Alright folks, let's do this. Before everything else, subscribe to my channel. If you don't do it, the demon in the story is gonna come out of the screen and kill me. And the divine shadow is not gonna be able to come in time and save my ass. And since I'm a commoner with 4 health, I'm surely gonna die. So, I don't wanna die, and if you don't want me to die, subscribe, like, and comment to my shit, man. And yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe. You know the drill, so do it right away. With that said, let's just dive quickly into the build. Sorcerer 12, Paladin 6, Fighter 2. The famous Sorcadin build. I think the only possible background is the Knight of the Order. I mean, you're a Paladin primarily. Well, not primarily, but you start as a Paladin. So yeah, there's that. Human variant, any good neutral alignment, 355,000 experience points, because you're level 20, right? So yeah, there's that. These are the stats at level 20. You're pretty good. I mean, you have high stats, you have high charisma, high strength, high constitution. Decent hit points for a Gish character, 21 armor class, without any magic weapons or anything. And you have 25 or 35 additional temporary hit points with an aid spell, depending on whether you cast it as a 6th or 8th level. We are gonna talk about why those 2 particular level slots in a minute, or several minutes. So without magic items, no poisons, just pure multi-class damage at level 20, you have these spell slots because you're a multi-class. You have 12 levels of Sorcerer, 6 levels of Paladin, so that's a total of 15th level multi-class, and you get these spell slots. So with that said, during the first round you pretty much just cast Shadow Blade spell at a 7th level or 8th level to be able to dish out 5d8 plus 6 psychic damage. Use your bonus action to cast Shadow Blade, your action to cast Channel Divinity on the Shadow Blade, or Woe Enmity Vengeance, depending on what oath you take, Sacred Oath. Second round you do the Nova damage, 270 damage on average. I think it's around 400 something max damage, but since you're gonna be rolling 53 d8 worth of damage, you're pretty much just gonna most of the time roll this, right? So that's the second round. Third round you don't have action surge anymore, and you only quotation marks do 160 damage. And then fourth round a little bit less, because you're burning through these spell slots like a madman, and you have no regard for anything. So yeah, with that said, let's just quickly dive into the build. We talked about multi-class. Let's just quickly go over the multi-classing again. So yeah, there's that. Blah 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 blah. You're 15th level. 6 levels of Paladin is a who is a half caster, gives you 3 levels of multi-class, and then 12 levels of Sorcerer gives you 12 plus 3 is 15. So you're pretty much capped at this. Now, you start with the 3 15s and 3 8s. You pretty much min-max. The textbook example of min-max is this character is a just textbook example of min-max. Human variant, pick strength and charisma because you need those two, And you pick a feat which is resilient, because you're a human variant. You can pick a feat. You increase your chosen ability score by 1 to a maximum of 20. You gain proficiency saving throws using the chosen ability. So your strength is 16, your charisma is 16, and then you can change this number, but doesn't matter. This is 16 too. These 3 remain at 8 for the remainder of your career. That said, first level Paladin gives you obviously these are the key features, defining characteristics, and yeah, you can pause if you want to read all of this stuff. You start with Paladin. You take you gain Divine Sense, Lay on Hands, Fighting Style. I would take Defensive because it pretty much remains useful for the remainder of your career. You have +1 to AC, which is always +5 harder, 5% harder to hit you, right? It's always going to be 5% harder to hit you. Dueling gives you just flat fixed +2 to damage, which is gonna be insane at the beginning when you're hitting those goblins and kobolds. But later on, that +2 damage is not gonna be that useful. But then again, what other fighting style can you take? I mean, yeah, you can take Protection, but that's not gonna benefit you, and we are min-max munchkin power gaming here, and we are selfish assholes. So we're just gonna gain everything for ourselves. Divine Smite unleashes those d8s of radiant damage. Level 3, Sacred Oath. Devotion is just plain better. You can go Vengeance, but I mean, Devotion is just makes sense, because mechanically and kind of like thematically makes more sense. Immune to disease, 1 ability score increase, extra attack, super important, aura of protection, which is insane. If you didn't know, yeah, it's level 6. You add your charisma modifier to all 6 of your saving throws. So even your charisma saving throw gets additional bonus of your charisma modifier. So all of your charisma saving throws at level 6 of your paladin, all of your saving throws at level 6 of your paladin are gonna get a bonus of charisma modifier, right? And then Fighter 2, fighting style, additional fighting style. You just pick one of these, depending on which ones you picked here. And Action Surge. Action Surge is insane. Progression comes online at level 6. If your campaign is not gonna finish at level 6 or higher, don't bother. Paladin 2, first 2 levels of your character, Smitey. Sorcerer 4, after that, you get Shadow Blade spell and Warcaster feat at level level 6 of your character, which at this point you're pretty much what you need to be. You are a shield, you have a shield in one hand, you have a weapon in your other hand, and you cast spells. And that's what you're going to be doing until the remainder of your career. Now, after your 4 levels of Sorcerer and 2 levels of Paladin, you pick 4 more levels of Paladin, up to Paladin level 6. And that's where you cap this build. You get Oath, extra attack, all of those stuffs, you know. Charisma +2 as well, like you're going to be upping your charisma, especially if you take the Devotion Oath, which adds the charisma modifier to your attack rolls. And yeah, that's just great. Fighter 2 after the Paladin 6. So level 11 and level 12 of your character is going to be Fighter. You become Surgical. Surgical, I'm so clever. Sorcerer 12 after Fighter. And you get all the sorcery and shadow sorcery and all that stuff. You increase your charisma to 20 and you put your strength to 18. Spells, avoid smite spells. You won't be able to use them because your bonus action and your reaction and your concentration are going to be used for other things. Cantrips, Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade. Booming Blade is a must. I'm speaking from experience, this cantrip is your lifeblood until you get to level 9. Because at level 9 you get extra attack. Up until that point you are going to be booming blading the shit out of everything. So after that, Green Flame Blade, kind of like you need both, because Green Flame Blade is useful in certain situations as well. And you need some ranged option. You are a sorcerer after all. I would pick Chill Touch, even though it deals a bit less damage than a Firebolt. It kind of fits the theme. It's a necrotic damage. It's kind of that sinister-y, shadowy, you know, like dark magic-y kind of thing. Spells of first level. Shield, most important spell. One of the most important spells of this build. Shield. You are squishy, you don't have hit points, you need AC, you need to survive, man. Absorb elements. Super important. Halves the damage of all acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, I don't know, kinds of damages. And cure wounds from Paladin. Second level, darkness, you learn it from your Shadow Sorcerer. Shadow Blade. This build revolves around Shadow Blade, as you probably noticed from this right here, right? So this spell is crazy. I won't go over it right now, you can watch my other video. And yeah, I mean, it's just pure insanity at later levels. Even at first, like, you get 2d8 at second level spell slot is a 2d8. Then your Divine Smite is another 2d8, 3d8. So you're dealing like a shit ton of damage, like on very low levels. So yeah, starting from level 5, you're a machine. Misty Step, you will not be sorry for taking this spell. You're not gonna be using it a lot, but when you need it. Let me just say one thing. I managed to save a teammate from literally dying and being forced to make a new character with this spell. Misty Step, then Cure Wounds the next round. I managed to stop a mini boss, a creature that we were attacking, from fleeing the combat. Yeah, I mean, we know, like, if you've been playing D&D, you know Misty Step is good. Aid from Paladin is also almost a must. If you didn't notice, I kind of listed it here. And you're going to be using it on yourself and your teammates a lot. So yeah, pick that stuff. And Zone of Truth, you get it for free from I'm filthing from Devotion Paladin. But if you don't take Devotion Paladin Oath and you opt for Vengeance, which I don't recommend, but it's still kind of okay, take Zone of Truth. It's one of those spells that yeah, comes in handy when interrogating those goblins and kobolds, right? Third level Haste. I mean, Haste is insane. You're gonna be shadow blading most of the time, but twinning Haste is great. So yeah, I mean, why not take it? Fireball or counterspell. You kind of need one or both of these. If you have a wizard or sorcerer in your team, or like a fiend warlock who has fireball, you can just take counterspell. But if you're like an only castery kind of class in your party, you kind of need both of them. Fourth level spells of sorcerer are kind of awkward. You don't, pretty much nothing stands out. Yeah, you can polymorph. Yeah, you can greater invisibility, but you pretty much don't need any of those spells. Fifth level Hold Monster, insane spell. You paralyze a creature, and all of your attacks and all of your teammates' attacks are critical hits if they hit. Insane. Creation is like it even says in the description of this spell, you don't have to take it. I just listed it here because it's more like a flavor spell, but it can be pretty abusable if for example, you make metal with it and your forge cleric makes something that you can sell out of that metal. So yeah, there's probably a million combinations with this one. Maybe not million, but hundreds. And yeah, I mean, you literally draw power from Shadowfell. It says in the description of the spell. So yeah, I would still take it. 6th level spells is highest level spells that your sorcerer is going to be able to get. Take both of these. They're insane. Like, there's nothing to tell about these ones that's just take these. So yeah, with that said, this thing is dealing a lot of damage, and on top of that, you can kind of roleplay with it as well, because it's kind of unconventional, you know. On one hand, you have a divine warrior, a holy warrior, a devotion paladin, all of that jazz, drawing power from the divine sources. On the other hand, you have like a shadow sorcerer who draws power from the plane where vampires, hags reside. You know, it's all dark, gloomy, shadowy, all despair, fear, and all that stuff, you know. So yeah, I mean, you kind of have a dual nature. On one hand, you're like holy, divine, and on the other hand, you're kind of like a sinister type of character, and I don't know, like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to roleplay kind of those characters, you know. So yeah, I mean, action surge, shadow blade spell, quicken and twin meta magics, aura of protection, extra attack, sacred oath, divine smite is insane, ridiculous damage. It can be pretty decent support at frontline. It can heal. Every paladin is a healer. This particular build can twin cure wounds. I mean, I'm twinning cure wounds in the campaign I'm playing. This, like, a build very similar to this one. So yeah, I mean, you can twin booming blade. I've been doing that like for a long time in the campaign that I'm playing a Sorcadin. So yeah, I mean, this build is pretty much insane all around. It's pretty versatile. It's not just like I come inside and I deal damage because it's what I do. No, you can heal, you can cast spells, you can just deal damage, you can smite stuff, you can just you can try to convince the monster or a boss to not fight you. Maybe you don't, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're level 5 and you come across a lich that wants to kill you, and maybe you manage to persuade him or her that he or she doesn't want to do that for some reason. I don't know why lich wouldn't want to kill you ever, but yeah, maybe you find a good reason to do it. So yeah, this build is great. With that said, like, share, comment, and subscribe once again, because the demon in the story from the beginning is gonna pop up around my screen and kill me. And yeah, I don't want to die. Yeah, until next time, see ya!